Hello and welcome to Racing Incident, a Formula One podcast in an American accent. I'm Anna, and I just realized that my mic was way far away.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hello.
Wow, it's a big difference.
I know.
She was like, my mic was in a different zip code. Hello.
It was.
Wow.
Now it's joined me in this one. The beautiful woman you're seeing next to me is, of course, the lovely, the talented Tasha James.
Hello.
How are you, Tasha?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I guess.
Hanging in there?
Hanging in there. It's that part of the summer. If any parents are listening, it's definitely like the part of the summer where you're just like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, where you're like just limping along, like just waiting for like, for back
school to start again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I can make it. And some days
you see the back to school commercials and you're like, thank God.
Right.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
No, but they start those so early. That is true. Yeah.
So it's not even August yet. Yeah.
Right. When you see those, it's still not time.
Yeah.
It's still not time. Yeah. So I'm all right. No, but we're okay. We went to the pool today. We had fun.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah. It was good. It like really I think a lot of people feel that way, whether they're autistic or not, or have sensory issues or not. But water is very soothing, especially for autistic people, but really for everyone. That's why a lot of people like baths. That's why,
showers.
Anything. That's right. Yep, so it's very regulating. So he was like, it was great. We went in the morning, and then the rest of the day, he's like, I'm so chilled out.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm going to have to start doing this all the time. Yeah, this could work. Maybe this will help get me through the rest.
Game plan. Yeah,
and it's supposed to be really hot here actually next week, like ridiculous. So I'm like, I can't. There's nothing else to be done at that point for me. I can't stand the heat. So I'm like, if I'm not in a body of water at that point, I can't be outside.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm honestly really worried about everyone because there's been all these heat waves.
It's really, really hot. Super
really
hot.
Bad.
Like hitting 120 in some places. And I'm just sort of like,
insane. How
are people surviving this?
Like, some are not. Some are not. Like there have been, deaths as a result of. So climate change, maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah.
It's a thing.
A few ice caps are melting or something.
Just a few, yeah. All right. So very quickly, guys, as always, please subscribe to us on all the things. Subscribe on YouTube if you're watching it there, or if you're not, again, just go there and subscribe. I don't have to ever see you again. Just do it the one time and that's it. And you'll be counted among the awesome people who are subscribers. If you're listening on any podcasting platform, please subscribe to us there. Please rate and review us on that podcasting platform. If possible, we're trying to, get our review numbers up on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and our star rating up. Because there are some people that hate review us. Because they don't like the stuff we talk about. And, so we need your help to counteract that. And follow us on all the socials. Obviously, we are at racing_incident on both Twitter and Instagram. We are also both on Threads, we should say, I guess. And I'm not going to say everyone's username for every possible platform in the world, but they're always in our show notes.
So
if you look below, or if you look in your podcasting app at the show notes, you will see all our social handles on everything. Literally everything.
It's fun. Yeah.
All the things. Threads, TikTok. Do I need to start putting in my blue sky? I don't know. Maybe. Did you ever join Spill, by the way?
I did.
You did?
I haven't been using it as much lately, but it's fun. Like it's fun.
Nice. Yeah, right.
It reminds me of like the best thing I could say is like it reminds me of like Tumblr, and like if Twitter and Tumblr had like a little baby, Like that's
Oh,
kind of how it
nice.
is. It's very cool. Like I think the platform itself is like actually really cool. The vibes there are immaculate. I will say, like everybody's energy is really nice. It just feels like very refreshing. It was made by two
Aw.
former Twitter
Right.
engineers, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
you know, it has sort of like that feel to it, but the community is different. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're getting tired of being part of Elon's midlife crisis the way that I am,
Oh my God.
still or
Like-
Threads. It's fun. Yeah.
Or Blue Sky, if you can get in. I finally got an invite from someone. Also good vibes over there, in my experience so far. A lot of cool people. There is a Formula One community there for any
nice.
people that, I've already, of course, found my people. On Blue Sky, they have this thing where you can create, I don't know how people do it. I think it's like something you have to do as a programmer or something, but you can create custom feeds of like, you they pick a bunch of keywords or they do it. I don't even know how they do it. But right away I was like, where are the Formula One people? And somebody was like, well, there's this feed. So it's basically, I guess it's like lists on Twitter, except that it's not that you add individual accounts to it. It's that when things are mentioned, that would be part. And the guy,
interesting.
So anytime, so he's got like a long list of, and we already even made some suggestions because people were like, it looks like punctuation is not, so like if you end a sentence with an F and then start the next one with a 1, it'll think you're talking about F1, but that's not really, so there will be stuff that goes in, but it's pretty good. It's, because there's no hashtags over there, at least not at this juncture. So it's, but it's like nice. I recommend if you can get on there. I've seen a lot of, people that, like my kind of people into, social justice, anti-racism, disability justice, other stuff like that. So there's a lot of, there's these really, really dope, disability justice people specifically, which is like really nice.
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of leftist circles, that's sometimes like the last frontier, right? For a lot of people.
It's true.
It's like when I had to try to convince people that, or fat phobia or other things like that are often like, or when people were making fun of Trump because he couldn't like go down the ramp or whatever that was, or when people were making fun of him for being fat, I was like, okay, I know you think you're doing a funny thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not okay to normalize this kind of an insult. Yeah. Because it will be used against other people who are not pieces of shit. Right. And with the walking down the ramp one, sorry for the tangent, everyone, but this is what we do. The walking down the ramp one, especially, I spent literally, I remember that day, like the whole day on Twitter trying to explain to people why this was important, to the extent that there were a few people that like direct messaged me who were disabled people that were like, thank you. Yeah. They were like appreciative. And I remember a couple of them followed me and I'm like, well, you're probably not going to find anything interesting here necessarily, but I was just like, I was like, how do you not understand this? Yeah. Like, how do
it's
you,
just like so baked into society. Same with like fat phobia. Yeah. It's like people don't even realize some of the things that they say is such like internalized, like fat phobia and, ableism and all of that stuff. And it is very necessary to have these communities like with like broad reach, and being able to explain stuff, because I think a lot of people don't realize the things that they casually think are just casual and off remarks that are very hurtful to other people who, like you said, are not pieces of shit. So this guy, one of the guys that direct messaged me, I remember he was like, I can't walk down a ramp either. That's when he's a piece of shit person. Yeah. But when you're making fun of him in that way, you're making fun of me too. I'm like, yeah, I know. There were like a few people that were like, okay, thank you for explaining, or thank you for, there were some people that were receptive, and I was like, okay, cool, at least a few. But some were resolute that like it is their God-given right to make fun of him in any way they want because of everything that, I get it. Like we all lived through those for years. Like, but why don't you make fun of him for being a fascist? That's a lot worse. Yeah. That's really a lot worse. That's true.
Than not being able to anyway. Okay. Enough. I think I've forgotten to say this the last couple of shows, I feel like, but one of the best things you guys can do is tell people about us, whether it's in conversations with your friends, whether it's on all these 500 million social networks that we have now that are hopefully going to replace Twitter, or maybe one of them will take off and that'll be the one. Oh God, please. I can't can't deal with it. I can't. Oh my god. I saw that this morning. I was like,
X me. I don't know. X. What? I mean,
sounds dirty.
X tweet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Elon's stressing me out, man. I'm so stressed out.
Oh my god. He's so difficult. Okay. Yeah. It's. Yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping that something becomes the social network because I'm exhausted from being in 3 places currently right now. And I'm just like,
can't imagine. Yeah. I'm just going to start sending letters to people. Just send me your addresses. I'm sending you like.
I wish I could do that.
Like we're
but you know, when you make content, unfortunately, you have to be pimping it.
Send a tweet. I just gotta put the stamp on it and put it in the mail.
I mean, Threads is irritating me with still not having a feed of who you're following.
Yeah,
a chronological feed like that is irritating. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people are. I did see something. Their engagement fell off a lot after launch.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And people I'm like, duh. There's no feed.
Yeah,
there's no feed. There's still no desktop version, as I understand. A lot of people who are doing things in social media land need desktop. I really don't, but a lot of other people do. So yeah. Anyway, that has been the social media criticism portion of the podcast. Follow us on all the places anyway.
Yeah, also thank you, for following us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate
everything sucks,
you.
But also follow us, yeah.
Right. That's pretty much that's the motto of being extremely online. Everything sucks, but please follow me. Yeah. That sounds about right. Okay, a few quick news items. Laurent Rossi, he of the decision to bash his team into better results potentially, is no longer the CEO of Alpine. No one really knows what the situation exactly was, why this change happened. He will now be working on special projects, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So it's, I feel like someone might not have been a fan of his approach, perhaps. Yeah. And now he hasn't left the company, so it's not like he's been,
He's on desk duty now.
Right. What are these special projects, like filling up the staplers?
Running to get coffee for everybody.
Yeah, maybe, The special projects haven't been determined yet. They're like, well, I see we've run out. It's a French company, right? So we've run out of brie. Laura, could you run out?
Yeah.
We don't have any more croissants.
No.
I mean, that's got to be like an emergency at a
absolutely.
French
it's
company.
For me. It would be for me. Yeah. Where are the croissants?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Pain au chocolat, please.
You're right.
S'il vous plaît.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, well, it's not. I don't know if it's funny. I mean, I do feel bad for Esteban and Pierre, honestly, because I mean, even though Pierre did go into a better situation for sure than an AlphaTauri, it is better, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely better. It's unequivocally better, but also not a good situation because that company is just lost. They seem to be, adrift. They've had these like 100 race plans or a 5-year plan or this and that never comes to anything. They thought they were making progress when they were 4th in constructors last year, and
no, they're not.
That's not the case. And somehow Fernando knew. I mean, it's like you could list now when you hear people, when I hear like commentators talk about them, they can't even mask their kind of derision anymore, pretty much. It's like after however many 100 race plans or 5-year plans or things that don't happen, you're kind of like, okay, guys.
It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make that happen.
Out.
It's just not working. Yeah.
Something's just not right in that company structure, I feel like. Much like, it was not the same, but it's somewhat similar to Ferrari in the sense, that they're both works teams. They're both car manufacturers. Now, you can't compare the two technically in the sense that Ferrari is Ferrari, and there's like one Alpine car that exists. I think there's they have like one model of car.
Yeah,
they're trying to. It's part of the Renault group, so of course they're making a lot more cars. But the Alpine brand, which it was rebranded from Renault, to promote like this one car that they have. Maybe they'll have more in the future. I don't know. But
not the way they're running it.
Yeah, maybe, right? It doesn't seem good. And yeah, I feel a little bad for Otmar, even though I don't necessarily have like warm feelings for him, but I don't have negative feelings either. So I'm like, this seems like a difficult job.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was the most excited last season. I think he was, or even earlier this season, he was saying, how, our upgrades were going to be competing with like Mercedes and the Ferrari, and it just never happened. And I mean, honestly, at this point, it's like even the drivers, like,
I mean, they are poorly managing the drivers, if you ask me, like in the sense of not that they haven't, I mean, okay. Yes, they've crashed into each other now several times. However, it's not, I mean, technically it's like, well, like this past race in Hungary was not their fault, to be fair. But they're obviously, they're qualifying poorly, and that's why, and Esteban himself said, it's like, well, when you qualify poorly, you end up back there with a lot more, the crashes are just more likely to happen. Obviously, in back in the midfield or further back or whatever. So it's almost like the midfield is the worst place to be, right? Like if you're in the back, right? Like you're not gonna, and if you're in the front, you're less likely to, people are, trying to be more careful, usually, whatever, But you're in that middle part. It's like the worst. The worst. Yeah,
I mean, they're all so close together too in performance that, like,
right there, exactly.
It's easy to get in a little entanglement.
Yeah, I feel bad for those guys. Like, and I don't think that they're. I feel like both them and Ferrari to a lesser extent, because I feel like Carlos is, despite all his many complaints, is like very hardy in a way. But I do think that those two teams, like I feel like, when things aren't going well, I think drivers tend to like overdrive. They tend to try too hard.
Yeah.
They tend to like, and that's when you see these things happen more and more.
Right.
And, it's like it's a downward spiral. So
absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers, Alpine. That's all.
Get well soon, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's sad.
Whatever.
It's sad because they're like an engine manufacturer. And I think I saw something about I will find this for the show notes if this is not a figment of my imagination. But I feel like I saw some kind of headline about that there's some kind of talk about trying to do something with engine equalization because the Renault engine is subpar.
I just saw that. I didn't read the article, but I bookmarked it. But yes, I read, and then Christian Horner like co-signed it. Was like, yeah, we want that.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing he would co-sign that, actually.
Yep.
It must be some benefit to him.
Yeah,
there has to be. I'm like, why would you there's no way. There has to be some because they're building their own.
The article, and I was like, let me read this.
Okay. Yeah, no, because that would benefit Red Bull Powertrain somehow if there was some kind of of course. Because they're going to be building their own engine too. So
I mean, without getting like too far into it, what I kind of read the previous weekend was that Christian Horner has kind of been like slowly kind of planting seeds that he might want to lobby a little bit for engine changes for 2026 because even though they report that they're ahead, they are the only team, and Max has also been in on this, where they are openly complaining in the media about the engine. So it seems like
we talked about it a little. Remember when they're like him and Toto are like trading barbs about this?
Yeah, I think that was last week with you and James. I think.
Oh,
maybe was it you and James?
I don't. You know what? Time is a flat circle, and I don't know anymore.
This is true.
But at some point, it was talked about.
But yes, so this is what they've been arguing about. Where Christian basically wants. He doesn't. To me, it sounds like he doesn't sound confident in the reliability of this engine. Yeah. And now that Alpine has basically said, like, our engine, we're not going to be up to par. Can we please make it so that there's like some kind of, what do you say, standardization or something?
Equalization,
something like that. And now Christian's like, I agree. And it's like, I'm
like, equalization in Formula One?
Right. It's like, why don't you just make it a spec series at this point?
Antithetical to the very concept of this whole series. I mean, because that's something people would talk in the past. They were like, well, this engine's a better engine. And so the teams maybe that have this engine or have an advantage, or this engine is better with this, whatever. Like, I mean, so
keep a pin in that. It's very fascinating what's happening. We're 3 years out, so it's like we're gonna hear
more and more about this stuff. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be something. Yes. So okay, not much of a news item per se, but I just wanted, since this is a Yuki Tsunoda fan podcast, if you didn't know, Yuki's a sweetheart. He said the sweetest things about Nyck DeVries. If you didn't see, he not only sweet, but he's just adorable because he only just recently saw Rush for the first time, the movie. And he said that Nyck gave the kind of feedback that Niki Lauda did in the movie, which, is based on real life, I imagine.
Yeah.
I know. Do you know what? They asked Franz Tost about it in the team principal's press conference, and he concurred. So FYI to everyone who may think that Yuki is overstating things or something like that, Franz Tost agreed. He said that his feedback was very good. Unfortunately, he couldn't, he couldn't do it on the performance side, but Franz Tost, you definitely get the sense that it was not his decision because they tried to get that out of him in the press conference. And he wouldn't, of course, because he can't, he's there.
Right.
Even though he's on his way out, you would think maybe he could kind of say what he wants, but I guess not because you don't want to, I don't know.
Yeah. Try not to burn bridges.
Yeah, exactly. I would too. I know. Same. I'd be like, let me tell you guys. I'm about to get out of here. I'm going to spill all the tea.
I'm retirement age and I'm leaving. I'm telling you everything. What do you want to know?
Yeah. I wish you would. What do you want to know? Oh, man. Well, if you want to see someone say everything they want to know with reckless abandon, by the way, about Red Bull and AlphaTauri, but mainly Red Bull, obviously, because they're the parent company. I recommend I never watch it or listen to it, I guess I should say, because they're on YouTube, same as us. And on, but Sky does a podcast, Sky F1. And they had this guy on who used to race for AlphaTauri. He's like a DJ now. He's like a famous DJ now.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah. The things, this man, it was like, this is like the dream scenario because he's not in Formula One. He doesn't care about anything anyone could think about him or say about him. He said it all. And it was very much, it was. It
felt cathartic for him, I think.
I think so too. I was like, I love this for you. I don't know you. I don't know who you are, but.
Yeah. Good for him.
It felt like a work exit interview where you're like, I don't care about ever working here again. I want nothing to do with these people or this industry. So I'm just going to tell you.
Tell you everything. Yeah.
It was like that. And he said that. He was like, because I'm not in Formula One anymore, I can say all this stuff. He's like, I don't have to worry about. Right. So I just really hope people write books eventually. I mean, Kevin Magnussen wrote one when he first left. And I think there was a lot in that, although I don't remember anymore if anything was, and this is kind of before our time, so maybe it wouldn't have been as interesting to us, but as I recall, he said a lot in that, but I guess not against anyone at Haas, so it didn't it didn't affect him coming back. But Yuki's so sweet. I just love him. I mean, he's just guy. You can just tell he's just a good person. He's just a good person. They already have a video with him and Danny, though. I'm not ready. Not that I had any attachment to Nyck, but it was I don't know. We're going to talk about Danny now too, honestly, because even though it's not news, I feel like it's something that should be discussed, of course.
Right.
It's news in a sense. This was his first weekend back, obviously.
Right.
And I must say, I was not expecting anything. I was... And this is a Yuki Tsunoda fan cast. So I think I would hazard a guess that we both were hoping that Yuki would smash him.
Yeah.
And, but that didn't happen this weekend.
No, Danny came out swinging. He beat him in quali. He beat him in the race. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm surprised that it happened. Like, I do feel like, to Daniel's credit, like, he has a lot of experience in Formula One. Obviously, he knows how to drive a car. My thing has always been the car itself, with Yuki having more experience driving the AT04, like, you know, having all that time.
Props. I did not know what number AT it was, let me tell you.
I don't know why I know this. My brain is full of useless information. Let me just tell you. But yeah, so I just had no clue not no clue, but like, I was curious, like, what it might look like. Could he be comfortable in a car that's like very difficult to drive? Yeah. And I know Yuki's been doing like his absolute best to extract the most performance out of it. So it is interesting seeing that there's potentially more in the car than even Yuki has been able to do. Right. But again, this is only the first race back, so I don't want to completely, you know, sell him short or anything. But yeah, it was just interesting. I mean, I'm happy for Danny because I feel like he does need to prove himself. Unfortunately, in this scenario where it's sort of like your future is very much on the line, either at Red Bull or any other team, like, I think he's in a hard spot, even though it looks like a saving grace. I feel like he's still in a really hard spot because it's like, if he performs well, the only thing I'm hearing is that there is potential for him to take Checo's seat at some point. But it's Red Bull. We don't know that they're going to like hold on to that promise, right?
So that's obviously what he's hoping. I mean, that's what he's hoping. There's no way he would have taken the seat if he didn't feel like that maybe that was a possibility.
But if he doesn't succeed in whatever this mission is, then not only will Red Bull not promote him to that seat, I don't see another Formula One team taking him either. Right. So I feel like he's in a situation where it's like he really has to like rock it, basically. Like he really needs to do extremely well by whatever metric they have given him to deem him successful to get that seat or whatever other place they might want to put him.
Yeah, no, I have to say I'm impressed by his whole change in tone and attitude.
Yeah,
since he's come back. It's extremely
whole new man. He's wearing khakis and like chinos and like he's got on like polos.
Oh my god. That's right. There's been a change in more ways than one.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Yeah. The skinny black jeans are gone. It's,
He's in full out Alpha Tauri gear.
I mean, are those their pants? Is that the only reason he was in those, do you think?
Yes. They don't let them wear anything that's not.
Right.
Like, I think I saw Danny in like some Enchante shorts. That's his like merch brand.
Yeah. Like, I think he's probably still allowed to wear his stuff to some degree because he's, and technically like he's on loan from Red Bull. So maybe you could say that it's not, you know, I don't know.
Either way, he looks like a serious adult at this point.
He does look like a serious adult. He has been truly humbled by these past 6 months somehow in some way. Yeah. I guess he got a taste of life as the reserve driver where you're just making funny videos and sitting on the pit wall. And he was like,
yeah, this is
not for me.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, honestly, I don't really usually watch the Red Bull videos or whatever, you know, since I don't want to. But I remember seeing one somehow by happenstance that was with the three of them. You know, of course, they put Danny and everything because Checo and Max are not Mr. Personality, shall we say. And they're certainly not like Danny anyway, you know. And you could almost tell that he was like, he was doing it through like gritted teeth a little bit. Like, what am I doing with my life?
How did I become the like resident TikTok guy?
And it's like some of them he's full on, he's all in, he's you know, he's doing a great job. But some of them are like, he's like, he
doesn't want to be the class clown. No, like I see it. Like he wants to be taken seriously. I think he sometimes lets the jokes go too far, and I think that's why he has this reputation that he doesn't take it serious. But out of his own mouth, he has said stuff in the past where it seems like he doesn't take it serious. So I do feel like, you know, seeing the ghost of F1 pass and like what could have been, you know what I mean? Like,
totally. I think he was just coasting for a while for most of even those last two horror years at McLaren. Especially the last one. The first one wasn't as bad. But I think he was just kind of coasting. Like, he's like, at some point things are going to turn around, all good, always, his,
right,
Hakuna Matata, I don't know, whatever,
100%, yeah.
Like, he was just kind of like, somehow, some way, things are going to turn around.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, man, like, and he seems to have gotten off that train a bit. He's like, no, I have to actually work at this.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm not saying he didn't work at it before. Obviously, I'm sure he did. But I think, because we know how much in the sport mindset and attitude means so much. So it's like so central and so key to your performance in ways probably that are even not conscious. Your mindset matters so much.
Yeah.
Whether it's the actual, like, on the day you're racing or on any session or just overall. And you can see how, it always has interested me that they've never had someone on commentary who's like a sports psychologist or someone who's like they
need it.
It's a missed opportunity. Because that would be really interesting.
Here into the psyche of these athletes, like,
well, that's what we're here for.
Right.
We're not sports psychologists.
Oh,
we have no technical credentials.
My credentials from Reddit, so that's where I get all of my psychology advice from.
My credential is I've just been in therapy a lot, so that's I'm just gonna go with that
therapist,
one. And also our credentials are we are emotionally astute women of a certain age, especially in my case.
And I'm the eldest of 4, so I feel like being an older daughter, like,
there you go,
just affords you a lot.
That's
of
another credential,
insight into people.
Definitely, absolutely. And and I'm very neurotic and introspective, so that's another credential. So anyway, what we're saying is we're right about. All the same. I get irritated when people like talk about like that you don't know them, you don't whatever. Yeah, we don't know them, but we can speculate.
I could take a
to
big
some
guess.
degree.
Yeah.
You can take a very good guess based on the way people. You can learn a lot from what people say and how they behave.
Yeah, it's like if you don't know how to read people, just say that first of all.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying we're 100% accurate, but I can
absolutely.
I feel like I'm in the ballpark here. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like. These people have been athletes their whole lives. And the thing I know about athletes is that you kind of can start to read them like a book because you see them week in and week out. I've seen Daniel Ricciardo more times in the past year than I've seen some of my own family members. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Like, I've seen this man's face more than I've seen my grandmother. So
they all have public personas on social media. Yes, we all know that people don't present their true selves on social media or whatever, but you can glean a lot from the way people present themselves because the reason is that we all have our own experience of doing that. We all have been on social media for a lot of our lives, some people for all their lives if they're younger, and we all know how we approach things. Now, people approach things different ways, but it's like you can have an insight into someone's, and of course sometimes people read too much into some things, but it's not totally invalid. What we're saying is the main point here. So I've been really like now I'm a little worried about Yuki. Okay, it's one race.
It's just one race.
It's just one race. Yeah, but
fine.
I just wonder if he's a little bit spooked. If he's, because he's not like when Danny first came to McLaren, now Lando wasn't spooked per se, because especially after he realized that Danny couldn't drive that car very well.
Right.
But I bet initially he might have been. He's like, here comes this guy who's a, 8-time race winner or whatever, with this huge profile and all this. And because that's what was the feeling. The feeling was that he was going to be the, senior driver, the leader of the team. Lando was going to learn from him, et cetera, et cetera. It was when he first started there, that was the thinking. Right. From the outside and probably the inside too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because that's how Lando with Carlos was very much like he learned from him. He was, Carlos was more, I don't remember who, I think Carlos overall did better than Lando, if I recall, at that time, because he was still, and he's more experienced and he was, but anyway, although you'd to hear Lando tell it, you might believe that we'll get to that. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's just maybe Yuki might be feeling overwhelmed by the moment because, again, it is, I think, number one, this will be his third teammate in 2 years?
No, in 3.
And really, a year and a half. I mean, he lost Pierre, he lost Nyck, and now he's on Danny.
He's losing he's losing Franz Tost next season, who he's very close with.
Right.
And Yuki has no stability in his life.
Yeah, so I think I feel like that would overwhelm kind of anybody. And then, of course, you have the new dynamic. Danny brings a ton of energy, adjusting from, Nyck, who, is very, reserved and, just very calm and quiet, compared to Danny, who brings this whole show with him. They're printing out "Welcome Back, Honey Badger" signs.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? I think that's a big adjustment. And for Yuki, who's been trying to gain some concentration in the last, I feel like Nyck was probably a great type of teammate to have, because it allows you to be more in your head, focused. Yeah. Where I feel like Danny brings all this extra attention now, and now there's this extra pressure added because it's suddenly now he's in a fucking death match with
I hadn't
Danny
thought about
Ricciardo.
it.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it, not only in the sense that, of course, there's a tension because it's the interest is, what's going to happen? Who's going to have the better of the other guy? There's that aspect. But it's also literally more attention because of the fact that Danny's there, so the spotlight is now on you, and it really wasn't before.
Doing his best, exactly. He's just been back there chilling, and now every week people are going to be comparing and criticizing his performance even more in depth than they were before. So,
I feel bad for him. I mean, of course, if he's the driver who some people think he is, he will rise to the occasion, hopefully. Yeah, and he will. And of course, people will say that from a sporting and performance standpoint, this is the kind of thing you have to do. Yeah, it's all gravy when you have a teammate who's worse than you and who you can just feel like you've got the better of, but now you have to take it up a notch. And hopefully he can learn some things from him also, though, because Danny is very again, he's got this whole mindset. He's gone and he's I'm gonna learn the car, I'm gonna help develop the car, I'm gonna I'm okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
See, and this is why I say Alex Albon is a very important figure in Formula One right now, because again, another person who has left and come back, who has completely changed their mindset and has a whole different mission in Formula One. And I think Danny saw that. I mean, you can't not hear that story from this season. That's a huge story from this season. So I really do feel like stuff like that does help him get his mind right. It's not a game. It's not a joke. You can have whatever experience in Formula One that you want to, I think, based off of how serious you take it. And I think that sort of feels like where he's at right now. But, again, time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see. I mean, I'm not, I feel like I've never been a huge Danny fan or whatever. I think he's very funny, obviously, and all the whatever. Some people probably think I hate him based on the fact that I've been I hope Yuki kills him. I hope, just because I really love Yuki a lot. It's not I want Danny to fail, but at the same time, I almost kind of feel like he's had a shot, in a sense. Honestly, he shouldn't have ever left Red Bull, maybe. Just imagine he's now trying to get back in the seat that he himself left willingly. If he had just not had the grandiose ideas that he's going to be a world champion, which is not going to happen, then it wasn't going to happen at that team, and he thought maybe it could happen another one. But realistically speaking, he must have known that it's not going to happen at Renault. Maybe he thought it could happen at McLaren. I don't know, but still, it's he should have maybe just. Max recently said something of he was oh yeah, I didn't ever want him to leave. He was I
mean, they do love each other.
They do. They people, that was a bromance that a lot of people loved. Yeah. Yeah, they're pals. They're pals, he's, and yet Danny doesn't say things about, any other drivers, even so. Anyway, okay, so let's talk just a little bit about let's bask in the joy of qualifying for a bit. I just, kind of want to, let's take a moment.
Yay!
It was so nice.
I'm still high from that. I loved it.
Me too.
I was wow. This is what it feels like. It's been so long to feel something.
it was like, it was so cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so wonderful. Everyone was so, it was like the skies opened up, you know, there was sunshine and rainbows and kittens, and it was just such a wonderful moment. I mean, and you could like just look at how, I mean, it's not just Lewis fans that were excited about it.
Everybody was excited.
Literally everyone, because somebody was excited to have, and there wasn't, maybe because now it's later in the season, because earlier Charles did have pole in Baku. And I don't know if that was, is that the only non-Red Bull pole prior to Lewis's? It might be.
Maybe.
I can't remember. Oh, well, I guess Checo's been on, but non-Red Bull, right. It's, you know, and of course, it seems like a long, long time from a Checo pole now as well. Yeah. But
it's a drought, guys.
Yeah, that seems like it might not happen ever again, potentially, or at least not the way things currently are going. But like people didn't. So probably because it was earlier in the season that people were like, "Oh my God, someone on pole who's not," you know, because at the time I think there was still hope that Ferrari was gonna, get their act together.
Do something, yeah.
Those have been dashed.
Oh my God.
Poor Ferrari. I mean,
Poor us having to survive Ferrari.
I mean, that's honestly
classes every week.
Well, it is poor us. It is poor us because like this Red Bull domination wouldn't be so bad if there were just some other teams that were like,
I would be excited if it was like, it felt like they were fighting for it every week.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I think most people don't understand.
Like the way last season started, at least, was like, okay, there's like a fight.
If you like sports, like sometimes you just have to accept that some teams dominate and they're not your team. But like you can still be happy or like you can still enjoy it because you feel like there's at least competition and they're just besting the competition. But like right now, Max has no one to fight with. And it's, again, like, it is what it is, but that's why it feels good when you see somebody like Lando at Silverstone, taking over 3 laps. And it's just sort of like, wow, we could have this every week. But we don't, because other cars can't compete right now. So we take our little bits of
we need everyone to get their act together. Other teams, hello, if you're listening, please. I mean, especially Mercedes, but really anyone, we need you to get it together, because like I don't know how much this McLaren now seems to have like really got it together, but at the same time, I don't know how high their ceiling is. We don't really know.
Yeah, we don't know the longevity.
We don't know where this is going to go. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, if so, great. Like if they're, I mean, I'm willing to, no, I'm not willing to say that. I mean, I still would want Lewis fighting for a title, of course. Mm-hmm. But if there are like 3 teams fighting for a title, that's okay. Yeah. If it's like Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren, okay. If it's
more the merrier to me.
It was
I like
Ferrari
it.
too. I mean, Ferrari, to be honest, I don't see I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
But and who else is there going to be? So it's really like, I mean, Aston Martin technically maybe could make a comeback. I don't know. They've fallen off hugely, obviously. A certain Spanish man at one point said that he was gonna be on the podium every race from here on out. Did not happen.
The universe had other plans. Yeah.
I feel like now it's just like a matter of time, like where I feel till like, he explodes, right? Like this is the MO, right? Like eventually now he did say this whole season is a gift. So he's probably looking more towards next season too, I think. But what if next season things aren't, I don't know. At some point, it's going to be, although maybe he'll just retire for real this time, maybe, and I don't know. I don't know. But that qualifying was just so wonderful. It was like, I mean, I'm not the like yelling at in my case, computer, because I'm watching it just on F1 TV, which you can cast, but anyway, I don't have custody of my TV
television
at that point in my house. So I was just like so excited. Oh my God, it was like this rush of emotion. It was, and to see how much it meant to Lewis, like it was just so beautiful. Like
Mr. I don't cry, and you could tell he was like getting teary and like just so emotional. I was screaming for it had to be a minute straight, just like like
It felt
murder,
like,
but it was amazing.
He said it felt like his first pole. Like, after all that time, it probably did. After like a year and a half, or
this is why I like watching that though, and feeling something and seeing somebody be so passionate about, like, that's his 104th pole of his career.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't really be that. It shouldn't mean that much to him, but it does. Mm-hmm. It feels like the first time.
Yeah.
And like when you compare that to like other drivers' lack of expression.
Yeah.
It's very, and everybody's not the same. I get it. Like, I understand all of those caveats, but it's still like when you see people who are passionate about what they do and it means something to them, it means something to us at home in the audience. That's why we latch onto this journey and like want to be there and follow him along. And like, it takes 2 years to get a podium or a pole, but it's like, it felt so good to see that and to see all that hard work.
It's an interesting conversation actually, because there was this one, it was kind of like, I would say, a viral tweet. Like, somebody at one point posted, I don't know where it was originally posted, but someone posted this thing on Twitter that I think came from somewhere else, maybe Reddit or from somewhere else, or I don't know, where like they were like, here's why it's really boring. It's not because Max is winning all the time. It's because Max seems kind of like blasé about it. They were like, they like exactly what you're talking about. They said, think about because Lewis, even during the dominant times, like he was always like, he felt to him like every win, I think, felt like exciting still.
Yeah.
And also he wasn't literally winning 7 in a row usually. So that was probably part of it. He still had to like,
fight for it.
Yeah. Like he had at one point he had a competitive teammate. At one point he, there were other teams that were also doing well, so you weren't like guaranteed to win like it seems like it is now, unless there's a DNF or aliens come and grab the car.
Aliens seems more likely at this point. Yeah,
it does. Really, it does. Yeah. We're counting on you, aliens.
Right.
Help us out.
That's all we've got left.
But yeah, like people like it was like this short post like talking about, and of course like people, were unhappy in response to this. And I don't think even just Max fans, but even like just people were like, oh, that's BS, like that, but it was like, it talked about all, they were like, Schumacher was always like, you could tell it meant everything to him. Other people, it named like all these other, people and with Max, it just sort of seems like, and because that is his MO, like he's even talked about like that's just part of like, again, this isn't like an insult per se. It's who he is. Like he said, he's like, my goal was to win a world championship. Now that I've done that, each other one is kind of just like whatever. He didn't use the word whatever.
Just does not care. Yeah.
He's just like, to him, it's just like, oh, okay, another one.
Right.
He's like, okay, I've already done that.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, like I said, it's just like that feeling of like it means something to someone.
Yeah.
Like there's some symbolism behind it. For Lewis, it seems like it's all like this culmination of like lots of hard work. And also, interestingly enough, like this wasn't even like his best lap, so he got this pole by like the skin of his 3,000ths of a second, I believe it.
300th. I don't think they go to thousands, actually. Maybe someday that'll be necessary. Maybe 300. Well, I think they only go to hundreds. Yeah, they didn't used to go to hundreds. It used to be just tenths, and then they started going to hundreds. Yeah, I don't know what year that happened.
The skin of his teeth type of thing. It wasn't like you barely, I don't even think you could blink that fast. So
no, I don't think so.
There was nothing between them. So to get that with the little bit of a snap in like the final corners, Max also had a snap in some of on his lap. So it was really interesting that like he pushed this third fastest, fourth fastest car to pole on pure just merit. And
I don't know what you're talking about, Tasha. Lando Norris says it's a really good car. So again, Lando getting there, but I'm just gonna keep peppering it in.
Yeah.
Because I'm still angry. But I mean, this just happened yesterday, so I guess it's not.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm gonna give the mic for a second to Mr. Nico Rosberg. No one could put it like him. And no one knows Lewis in a sense better than him as far as a racer, as far as a competitor, because he was alongside him for a number of years. And of course they raced each other growing up. I mean, he he does have an insight into Lewis that is valid. Some of the things he says can be, but as far as his racing ability, he's, he understands what Lewis can do. He said, Lewis gave it everything he had. I witnessed these special moments in these days he used to have. Today was one of those. That lap there is like perfection. It's art. Only Lewis Hamilton can do that on such days. No one could have gone even 100th quicker. How awesome. Super. So Nico was full of praise. Someone wants to stop getting ignored in the hallway. I feel like of their Monaco building.
When Lewis goes to get his mail at the mailbox, and Nico's like, hey, one of your letters got delivered to me by accident. He's like, that's fine. You can just keep it.
Yeah. Or like, it's one of those like where you can tell like Lewis is in the elevator and Nico's like, hold up. And he's like, no, he's pushing the button.
Yeah, he's like, shit.
No. Sorry, I'm in a hurry.
Right. Nico gets on, Lewis gets off. He's like, oh, I forgot something at the grocery store. I gotta leave. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I saw someone, I can't take credit. So I saw someone tweet like that he wants to start getting Christmas presents from Lewis too, not just for his kids. Like the implication being that Lewis, like probably because he like is nice.
Right.
And so like he probably sends his kids Christmas presents, but not Nico. Nico wants to be back on the Christmas
Well, then
list.
You know what, Nico? Yeah. Be a better person. And also stop posing in front of the garage.
Oh man, I really I try not to believe in those things, but it's hard not to.
Sports is all about, every athlete has superstitions. I know. And it's just sort of like it's one thing to not believe in it, but I'm sorry, it's like it's been proven now. But this one's like a fan superstition, times.
Like it's not, but but it has been.
It's been proven multiple times. Like he posed in front of Max's garage the day before, and Max didn't get pole. Yeah. Like when has Max never gotten pole? Like, come on, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Nico strikes again.
I mean, we need
Stay away.
I can't stand those pictures also because again, like he's posing in front of them like some common plebe who got a paddock pass from their friend's cousin's brother. You know, like, what are you doing, Nico Rosberg? You're a world champion.
We know you're there, Nico. Yeah.
What are you, like, we believe you.
Oh my God.
Like, you do not have to take these pictures. It's so embarrassing. I'm embarrassed on his behalf.
He has like no self-awareness, and I almost find it endearing. Like there's nothing up there. Like I think
it is a little bit.
Your ear up to his ear, it would just be like ocean waves sounds.
I mean, I feel the same way about Danny Rick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's probably sounds like crashing waves. Like
right.
Yeah.
Or just music. Like he's really into music.
Yeah,
I know. So. Yeah, constant songs playing. Probably not that kind of music, but that's an Oscars head, as I understand. Yeah, Oscars into. I believe so. If I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah. Which is interesting. Oscar has hidden depths we don't know about.
Duality.
Yet. He's still new on the scene, and there could be a lot going on there that we don't know about. And maybe we'll never know because he's very reserved. Mm-hmm. So, I can't disagree with Nico on that one. That lap was really amazing. I mean, probably still not as, like the famous Singapore pole lap. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people still rate that one higher. And if just watching the onboard of that is like, you're just like, terrified. You're not driving the car, but even just watching that is like incredible.
It's a thrill.
But this was, of course, very, very exciting and very nice for a minute there. Somebody tweeted us. I will say a close runner-up to tweet of the week, which they didn't win, but because I'm going to try to be like tough now and just pick one person. But it was like he made like he was like. Saturday, Lewis is like Barbie, and Sunday was Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Barbie, since we're on the topic, I must say there has been a lot of bitching online from men who are motorsport fans or themselves racing drivers. Yeah. In the case of a certain Formula E driver who literally spent the entire weekend, I feel like, tweeting about how there was more than one tweet. I mean, don't you have things to do? Or, his own team did the Barbie meme of like, one ticket for Oppenheimer, one ticket for Barbie. I think it was him in the pictures possibly, and I'm not 100% sure, but maybe that's why he took exception to it. I don't know.
Right.
But he was like, he like quote tweeted it and it was like, no, only Oppenheimer for me. And I was like, oh, okay, good for you. Good for you. And then later, like, he tweets, like, he's, like, watching it in the theater. He's like, Oppenheimer. Like, it's...
We get it. You use a 4-in-1 body shampoo, like, conditioner, body wash, whatever. Like,
right.
You don't have to prove your manhood by what movies you go watch. Like, Barbie is fun.
But apparently he does.
You can't, like... I don't understand these, like, stupid... culture wars. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just so fucking dumb. It's so dumb. Lame to be like, a grown man having to prove your manhood on Twitter, showing us Oppenheimer versus seeing Barbie.
You're a racing driver, for crying out loud. You drive really fast at a, you're doing a dangerous thing and all this. Like, this is not enough for you. You have to prove that you're a real man by saying that you're not going to go see Barbie. Like, again, guys, like, this is 2023. Like, why can't we get with the program here? Like, you can be a real man and go see Barbie. You can be a real man and, be sensitive. You can be a real man and there's nothing sexier. To you could honestly
also not want to see Barbie. That's completely within your right.
That's totally fine.
But but act like you're having to prove that by saying like, oh, I'm not going to see Barbie. I'm going to see like who. Like, what? Grow up. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah, if it's like not
serious.
your thing, you're just not interested, whatever, that's not whatever. Also, okay. But like,
I know everybody's not social media marketing guru or whatever, but like, just understand that this is just how people are getting engagement right now. Like, these drivers who act like it's some personal attack to say that, oh, I'm going to Barbie is like a personal attack on their manhood is insane to me. It's your social media manager at your team is trying to get tweets engagement. That's it.
Exactly.
Please. Like, that's it.
Just let them do their job. Like, come on, leave
like,
them
seriously,
alone.
It's fine.
And then I saw that kind of thing from like so there were some fans, and I think this was on Threads actually. Like, I saw sometimes I'll look at like the replies to like and then Threads, because the engagement is so low there's sometimes not a lot of replies. So you can really realistically look at like what people are saying, as opposed to like on Instagram when there's like, 2,000 or something, comments to something like a team will post or whatever. And I saw all these, like, it was not a lot because again, it's Threads, but there were like these guys and I was like, out of curiosity, I asked some of them, I'm like, why does this offend you? Like, what is this? Right. And they were like, well, I just don't understand what it has to do with racing. I'm like, I'm like, it's culturally relevant. It's a movie that's out right now. There's these memes that have been everywhere. Haven't you seen them? Like, they probably have. And I think that they're like fed up, they're like,
they hit their limit on Barbie marketing.
Yeah, Not
enough shit's blowing up. So,
I guess.
How dare they? How dare the most popular doll in the entire world have a sustained marketing campaign for the movie that's coming out? Like, dude. Like, everything's not for everybody. My whole thing with the internet right now is just like, this is like, the performance is exhausting. Like, are you not exhausted having to perform your manhood every fucking week on Twitter?
Or because perform Ben Shapiro your coolness told you that or whatever Barbie the case may be. Yeah. Perform how cool you are by not being into something that other people are really into. Like, good for you.
Yes, being contrarian is not a fucking personality trait.
It's not.
Like, can we please?
Like, as an example, like I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah. A lot of
what? Yeah.
Sorry, that's my genuine reaction. One, because I feel like you would actually love it, and I don't know.
I'm sure I would. Yeah. I'm sure I would. But there's there's so many hours in the day, and like I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I haven't seen there's a bunch of other things like that. But Game of Thrones is probably the biggest one. Of course. And at the time I remember, because it ended, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. See, I wasn't sure. Yes. That's right. That's why I haven't heard anything about anything.
Yeah, it's been a while,
like I haven't seen Succession yet either. I haven't. Yeah, and I'm
same
sure,
boat. I haven't watched Succession yet.
Okay. All right, at least, yeah. But Game of Thrones, see, like your reaction, that was funny because it's like
ah!
yeah. But I obviously you're not like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? But it's just, but that it was because it was culturally so huge, right? And let me say, at no point did I feel the need to, sometimes I would make some comments like, I have no idea what anyone's talking about when they're talking about Game of Thrones stuff. And it's just kind of funny. People will be like, really discussing something, and I'm like, I'm lost. Yeah. So I might have said things like that, but at no point did I really feel the need to be like, oh my God, like what's with all the Game of Thrones memes? What's with all the like? Actually, you didn't need to watch the show to understand the memes.
The memes are pretty self-explanatory.
I mean, and same for like for Barbie. I think some people maybe don't understand them, but at the same time, I'm like, why you? Not everything has to, like, what do you expect? Like, what would you want to see from, but when I did think about it a little more deeply, as I tend to do, it did make me realize that actually, when you think about it, think about like motorsport, of course, is very male dominated, right?
Right.
At every category, every type of racing, while there are some where there are a lot of women, or there's even some where women are very prominent, it's still overall as a general thing, motorsport, car culture, very male dominated. And yet, of course, maybe it's not 99%, okay, but a high percentage of the people that do the marketing and the social media are women, right? Like, that's just a fact. And I do think there's that disconnect, right? Like the way that these teams and these athletes and these drivers and whoever and what they're doing is presented publicly on social media or wherever else is kind of often through this female lens, right? And there is this disconnect that they're kind of presenting it in a way that it actually isn't in reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, because no one, like, I don't think, I don't know for sure, but I have the sense that maybe no one, in any of the Formula One garages are like talking about, are they a Barbie or a Ken?
It's purely social media.
Right. Or like the NASCAR drivers aren't like, oh, well, I really liked when they put me in that, or whoever. Like, they're not on the same page.
For fun, guys.
Yeah, it's just for funsies. It's just
like
for
that's.
fun.
But yeah, it's been interesting to me to see the reaction to it. I feel like mainly it's because it's taking up so much space, on the internet. Right. Like, everything has to be this, like I said, this weird culture war. Like, we're taking so much time away from these fake pretend fights between women and men and blah, 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 blah. And how dare everything be pink right now? Taking up too much space to talk about more important things. Like what? Like,
I'm like,
how much
bitch,
money
please.
Elon's losing. Yeah.
Our world is burning. There's, creeping fascism. There's this. Let us have this.
Yeah.
Let us have some joy in our lives.
It's just like it's not even market. And this is like, to me, it's very symptomatic of what we are experiencing, because it's not, the male demographic are not the main demographic for this movie. Right. Right. Like, and obviously it's seeping into
not the
other
straight
stuff
male
because, like
demographic anyway.
But I mean, like, or even, really, like, mainly
maybe not even. Yeah.
But mainly, Barbies are marketed toward little girls, and anybody can play with Barbie. It's not, that's not what I'm saying. But like, the main demographic are little girls and women who grew up with Barbie. So the fact that we have something that's tailor-made specifically to us and has taking up so much space, and also latched on to this very male-dominated sort of movie that's on film, and it's very serious and blah, 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 blah. Right. But it is that us taking up space or being catered directly to, like, I feel like irritates certain subset of men, and have made it their entire sole mission to take a movie that has nothing to do with them in the first place and make it all about their feelings. And you can take that and you can apply it to pretty much any other conversation that we're having right now, because a lot of the shit has nothing to do with these straight white guys, but they've made it their mission to make everybody miserable. The world is ending and we can't even enjoy a fucking Barbie movie and wear pink without somebody's head exploding. So
Yeah, it's a microcosm of a larger thing, like you said, that we've seen this time and time again in whatever spaces. Again, we've talked about this on the show a gazillion times, like the way that women are now taking up space in Formula One and other motorsport fandom,
right?
Increasingly, younger people, etc. People of color, people, whatever. And the people who have been there, who are white, male, straight, like are like, wait a minute.
Right.
These people don't belong here. No, maybe they wouldn't say that outright, but they're feeling a certain way about all these new people or people who, weren't here 20 years ago. And they're again, you could apply this to we had, if people don't remember Gamergate, that was the same thing. If there that happens in literally almost every area of, whether it's comics, whether it's movies, like here, again, even though this is like a broad cultural thing, like, everyone like goes to the movies, but when it's something that caters to women, it's like, that's not supposed to exist.
Right.
Like, why?
If this was like the millionth Jurassic Park film with Oppenheimer,
right.
it'd be all over it. Like,
it'd be fine.
Are you a raptor or are you whatever? And it's like, people would eat it up.
Because it's Barbie. For women. Stuff's not supposed to be for women. We're not supposed to experience any joy. We're not actually allowed to have fun. I don't know if you've heard.
Right.
We're not allowed to have fun. Like when people were, I'm not saying I'm any fan of Nancy Pelosi or whatever, but like I remember there was this whole brouhaha because she had like this expensive ice cream or something like that people were, so women aren't allowed to enjoy things. We're not allowed to, we're,
we're just meant to serve.
We're just meant to serve and suffer and and for men to have all the fun.
Take little
we're not
scraps,
supposed to, when the Ghostbusters movie came out, it was the same thing. The one that was with the all-female cast. It was this literal insanity. Like, people lost their freaking minds.
As they always do.
As they always do, yeah. Okay, enough about them.
Yeah.
For something. One thing I did want to say, as we were talking about qualifying before, how sweet was it that Zach presented Lewis with the award?
That was so good. Sweet. That was a cherry on top for me because, Zach's he does karting and, so obviously Lewis is his hero in more ways than one. To me, it just felt really full circle, I think, for Zach to be experiencing that with Lewis and that Lewis made it a point to bring him along to experience this.
Yeah.
It just meant the world to me to see this. And, we talk about this a lot as well with Mission 44. Lewis's sole mission is to help diversify Formula One and to see, small kids, Black kids get a chance to be broadcasters. And they were really good at it, by the way.
They were so good. Oh my God.
Amazing,
another thing that humorless, awful people hated on.
Yeah.
There were people that were hating on that. I'm
weird.
What?
Who do you like? My thing is this. It's we live in a society where we're being told that women have to have all these babies. Then babies grow up and then you guys fucking hate the babies. And it's just sort of I don't get it. What logic is this? You hate women.
Point.
You hate children. You hate fun. Nothing is making sense. Who
hurt you?
It's what the hell? Are we supposed to just be born and die miserable because you are in a miserable box of your own making? You have to subscribe to these male ideals because you guys don't ever push back against them and say, I'm a guy who likes Barbie.
You don't have to live in that miserable box, by the way. If you're miserable in your life because of I don't know, there could be any number of things. Maybe because you feel like you are not, all buff and good looking. Maybe you don't feel like you make a lot of money. Maybe you don't feel like guess what? You don't have to live in that box. Yeah. We don't want you to have to live in that box. That's what, if you didn't know, that's what feminism is actually.
Patriarchy,
it's not about elevating women above men. It's about freeing all of us.
Yeah.
All of us from these norms or these ideas that we have to be a certain
and some
way.
People, but it's funny because some people don't see it that way. Men don't see that they're being oppressed by these very same things that these tools that they use to oppress others. You are oppressed. Your hair can be only a certain way. You only are allowed to dress a certain way. You're only allowed to like certain things. Your personality is allowed to be beer or whiskey or cars. It's so limiting. And you don't see that the same things that you try to apply to women and gay people and Black people, blah, 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 blah. Everyone is also applying to yourselves. And that's why you're miserable. And that's why when you see everybody else having fun, despite the fact that we live in a miserable, dying world, you want to shit on that. And it's like, you could be having fun too, but you rather make everybody hate women. You'd rather make everybody hate children. So yeah, when I see grown adults hating on children, that just like boils my blood, because it's like, first of all, who are you? Like, to shit on somebody else, they obviously are this is something that they're interested in. We should be encouraging that. This was like
something that's like you don't like no one like shits on kids like usually. It's not, I mean, I feel like if this happened in any other sport, literally anything else, people would be like, even if they had like no idea what they were talking about, which was not the case with these kids, first of all, but even if that were the case, even if there was some, like, people would be like, oh, you know, like, I feel like, you know, you might not think it's great or something, but most people would be like, that's cute. You know, even if you're not a kid person, even if you're not a, you know, whatever. Like, but here, what is this? Like, what, again, like, I mean, look within yourself. Like,
seriously,
please.
What's making you miserable about children getting a chance to be a commentator? And like the global feed, we only got a few minutes at a time.
Yeah, there was not.
Like, that's even more crazy to me, is that there were people who were outside of the UK, in Germany, where it was available, who were like complaining for seeing kids for 5 minutes. Like, dude, you can't hate kids that much. Like, that's just weird to me.
If you're, as I understand, I mean, you're a Sky, you could still, I think it was just on like another, so if you're like a Sky customer in the UK, you could have still just listened to the regular. Yeah, exactly. No one's forcing this on you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, what?
It's weird. F1's ground zero for culture wars. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
Everything. Everything that's going on Fox News and everything is happening in Formula One every single week.
It really is. It really is.
Like, ground zero.
Like, this is one guy. I don't know if this was everyone's opinion, but like this, this one guy, and I exchanged some tweets with him, like, on my personal account, because I saw like something, you know, I don't remember even how I saw it, but like, he was just so deeply offended. He claimed he wasn't offended, though. It was so bizarre. He's like, I'm an adult. Like, he felt like this was being like, that this was like somehow like they're talking down to him because he's an adult and he shouldn't have to listen to these kids. And I'm like, what? I mean, I actually asked him, I was like, who hurt you?
How insecure do you have to be? Dude?
And he was like, I don't get it. He was like, life hurt me. I'm like, okay, well, life hurts everyone. Like, I'm sorry. But if that's, I mean, you know, but he, and then I thought we were like done, because I'm like, well, I'm not, you know, going to convince him, whatever. You're just a miserable person. And then later on, we don't follow each other, but later on, he like tweets me, oh, now my feelings are confirmed. It's on the official F1 account, like the F1 social media account had posted stuff.
F1's promoting F1 related content.
Right. Like, first of all, I said, FYI, you do know they're involved in that, which he did. He knew that that was, you know, co-produced by, you know, he's like, but he didn't agree with that should be a thing. And it's on the social media account. I'm like, he was like, it's on my social media feed. I'm like, your social media feed? Your social media feed, dude? Like, again, when you, but gosh, it must be really nice to grow up with the idea that you are the center of the universe, that everything is for you.
That's why they're breaking their brains. Then they're realizing that you have to make a little bit of room.
Yeah.
One or two tweets out of 500 tweets that F1 posts in a weekend, being kids, is not rocking your world. I'm sorry. Like, you're just,
I mean, are
hating.
You glued to I don't understand. Are you glued to their social media presence that you literally see every single tweet or every single, I would suggest you maybe need some additional hobbies if that's the case. But
it's like, there can be kids, I just don't want to see it. Like,
what?
There can be women, I just don't want to see it. There can be gay people, I just don't want to see it.
Were like, amazing. If people miss, like, incredible.
Yeah.
I fire the entire, fire the adults. I just want these kids to do it.
Yeah, they were doing amazing.
They were incredible. And then, like, when the is it Ruby, the one with the gold jacket? Like, which was like Ruby. So cool, and I will never be that cool in my entire life, actually. And of course, Lewis complimented her on it right away, and it was like, and I was like, of course, Lewis appreciates fashion, and I was like, and she looks incredible, and they all were so amazing, so composed, so professional, so just really incredible. Like they were like born for this. I hope that they like continue, honestly. And
I actually really hope that they bring it to, I would love to see them more. I know we're in summer break, so I feel like maybe that was the chance, but I would love to see them at more races at some point. And yeah, just the fact that I was so impressed by like how like non-intimidated they were by the entire, like the production, like to be in front of like big cameras and all these lights, and then you bring in like your heroes like Lewis Hamilton and all the different drivers. They're interviewing like Charles and Max and like everybody, and it's just sort of like to have that kind of composure. I mean, granted, they're children, so I feel like kids are fearless.
Yeah, they're a little bit like
fearless, but but still, they all had so much insight. They were so like well spoken and eloquent, like. I was just blown away.
Funny. Like, they were amazing. I thought about it. And, I think one of the reasons it works so well is because, honestly, I feel that, like, with the adult commentators, sometimes a lot of the content is very childish. In this case, at least it was kids doing it. So, like, if kids are doing it, it's charming. When you have adults trying to, like, start a beef between drivers or doing, like, or asking questions that are,
Yeah, and I just felt like the curiosity that they had was very refreshing.
Right.
Going back to what we talked about a little bit ago about like with Lewis and how passionate he was winning. Like I felt that about them and like they were so passionate about Formula One.
Right.
And it's like you really kind of don't realize what you're missing with the Sky F1 broadcast team as is. Like they're
totally,
some of them do have great insight, like, but a lot of it is very biased in a way that makes it you don't really want to like listen to it.
Right.
But the fact that these kids don't come in with an agenda, they're not saying, they're just calling it like they see it.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, wow, this could be us. We could have this every weekend. Yeah.
So refreshing. And to them, everything, part of the bias that they don't have is that they haven't been doing this for 20 years. People who, whether they, some people are able to maintain some kind of, level of, newness but a lot of the time people get jaded in whatever job they're in, if it's for a long period of time, oftentimes, and they don't have that anymore, that they kind of fake it sometimes, but they don't have that, childlike passion anymore that they probably did when they first started. And, when everything was new and exciting. And kids are the definition of that, because to them, and they're discovering new things every day. They're learning new things every day. They're learning about themselves every day. They're changing. They're, so it's, it was just so lovely. Like,
10 out of 10. I need to see more. I think it was great.
I would love if we could get it, here in the US. I'm so sad that, we don't have access to that. I just, also some really funny things. Like, I don't know of the veracity of what Toto told this kid, but apparently one of the Sky Germany ones, Toto like whispered in his ear that Lewis is going to renew for 2 more years. And then the kid just like told everyone.
I was like, Toto, you can't tell kids things. They're going to tell everybody.
I mean, I hope that that's true.
Yeah, same. I'm sure it was a joke, but I just thought it was funny. I was like,
probably a joke, yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times.
If that turns out, if he signs it to your contract, it will be really funny.
Right, and then it was broken. News broke by like the 10-year-old.
That'll be his first. He should put that on his resume. He broke the news.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, just so lovely. Just so wonderful. So, when Zach did the thing with Lewis, when he sat in his car and he, when he talked about how they call that the Lewis Hamilton effect in his house, oh my God, like my heart cracked into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
That's what, to actually see this, and the way, Lewis does all the things that he does, but it's not part of official Formula One. So you would have to seek it out. You would have to go look at, his charities, their work, what they're doing. Obviously he will post stuff on his own social media and stuff like that. But this was on the official, this is co-produced by Formula One and Sky, which is, one of the main, obviously, broadcasting names in Formula One. And to have this little black boy there talking about how it feels to, when they see Lewis, they call it the Lewis Hamilton. When we see you do it, we believe that we can do it ourselves. Absolutely. To have that, evocative, emotional, display of why representation matters so much. Lewis can talk about it all he wants, but when you actually see a little kid there being like, I'm in, like, and he's a Carter, if people didn't know. And of course, Lewis, Lewis didn't have anyone to look up to when he was, but this little boy has Lewis. It means so much.
Exactly. And this is what we've been trying to tell everybody. And it's like, you don't understand, like, you as an adult may not understand the significance of somebody like Lewis Hamilton in the sport, but like, it's not about us as adults. Like, there are people looking up to us and they need to see themselves represented. Like, little girls need to see women in these positions, and minorities need to see minorities, and so on and so forth. Everybody needs to be able to see themselves at some point. Yeah. So it is really important. It's more than just like what you're comfortable seeing and what you want to see. It's more than that. So
I can relate. Like, when I remember when Lizzo first became a thing, like as a fat woman myself, like I was like, oh my God, like this is the greatest thing to ever happen. Yeah. Like, or when people, now there are, there's media like that, like, I don't know if people know Michelle Buteau. She's a comedian. She's got this series on Netflix, which I highly recommend. It's called Survival of the Thickest. And she plays, it's like semi-autobiographical. And she, but anyway, like you see things like this. And I can't describe how emotional that is. I mean, somebody like Zach would understand what it's like to see Lewis doing what he does. I can't describe that unless you've had that experience yourself. You just can't understand what it's like to see someone who looks a bit like you, or who whatever shares, who's experiencing, like, like, for example, we think about like movies, there's no romantic comedies or whatever the case may be. There, it's always thin women, blonde women, whatever, like things like that. Michelle Buteau is a thick, Black woman with freckles and, back fat, as she's fond of saying. I'm like, yes, back fat. It's a thing, and I'm like, this show is about like her, she's about her falling in love, about her, being with like these really hot guys. It's like, exactly. Like, you don't, it's not, it's not like what we often see. And it's not, and and when you see someone like Lizzo, who's like, she wears what she wants, she does what she wants, she's so, she loves herself so much that it's so inspiring. Like, and it's hard to explain how that feels. And I'm just so glad that Zach and the other kids could have those experiences.
I'm glad that Lewis got told to his face that, that's that, like you said, the Lewis Hamilton effect. I mean, I'm sure that meant a lot to him on some level, but I feel like to really hear that from like the mouth of a child, like, because, again, we talk about
keep
kids.
In touch.
I'm sure they
really
will.
Hope so.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so cute. Like the whole, they were all just so cute. I mean, unfortunately, there was
Scarlett was one of my faves.
Oh,
she was the one that was telling Ted about it.
She was
like, Ted, do you have to wear those shorts and the sandals?
I'm like, this is the brilliant thing about children. Like, they will tell it like it is, This is the like, yes, Ted, like, maybe,
switch it up. Yeah.
Maybe it's time. I'm just saying, they didn't because we talked about this when he did this whole, like, Joe's going to style me. Oh, not really. I'm just going to wear ridiculous looking things. And I'm just going to play it all for a laugh. But of course, when you go flying with George at the RAF, like, that's all very serious, of course, because that's a manly pursuit to fly a fighter jet, I guess. That's but yeah, one very bad thing that I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but because it just doesn't deserve even being spent a lot of time on. But Danica Patrick said a thing, and I didn't even hear about this because I didn't know, but I saw Alanis King, who is an awesome motorsport journalist, and she had heard from people that Danica Patrick said some crazy shit during the kids broadcast, because she was it was her, Jensen Button, like, they had Nico, we're part of like their kind of part of they were, I guess, the adult chaperones, so to speak, which I always thought,
doing a lot of heavy lifting in the case of Danica.
I always thought it was a weird choice to have Danica there, to be honest, like, not because I just thought it was strange. Like, she doesn't, not that you have to have kids to be a person who can, vibe with kids, but like, she doesn't have any kids. She doesn't seem very kid oriented. She's just not, she's very like very serious, very, you know, and I just thought like, I don't want to see this being a good vibe, but whatever. Unfortunately, it was way worse than even not having a good vibe. So Alanis, she had someone transcribe for her the part of the troublesome part of what Danica said. So it starts out all normal. I don't even know how they got on this topic or what the deal was, but she talked about women in motorsport. She said, as I've always said in my whole career, it takes 100 guys to come through and find a good one, and then it takes 100 girls. That takes a long time to find a good one, right? It's just the odds are not in favor of there always being one or being many of them. Okay, I'm with you so far. Not enough girls, so that because there's fewer, there's, yeah, cool. Women aren't getting as many opportunities, perhaps you're saying. At the end of the day, I think the nature of the sport is masculine. It's aggressive. You have to, you know, handle the car, not only just the car, because that's a skill, but the mindset that it takes to be really good at something that's not normal in a feminine mind, in a female mind. You have to be like, for me, I know if somebody tries to bow up or make it difficult on me, I would go into like an aggressive kill mode, right? You just want to go after them, and that's just not a natural feminine thought. I say that because I've asked my friends about it. And they're like, yeah, that's not how I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. She said this on the kids' broadcast?
On the kids' broadcast. No one should have to hear this of any age, but especially children. I mean, I would fire her like immediately. Like,
I would be so pissed if my kid was on set and she said that, especially if it was like she's talking to like little girls. But kids were also
listening to this. Kids all over the UK and Germany or whatever, you know.
I would have lost it, like, as a parent. Like, I just feel like with Danica, I understand her career. She's had, you know, she made her mark. She wasn't like a great career, but, you know, she had a presence or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I understand on the first aspect of what she's saying. The second thing, I feel like with the mentality, I feel like that's so wrong, because if women didn't have, or if little girls didn't have this aggressive mentality or whatever she's saying,
there would be no women's sports.
There would be no women's sports.
There wouldn't be any.
No one's born an aggressive athlete. These are all socialized, learned behaviors.
Exactly.
So the fact of the matter is, like, it is something that you can learn, whether you're a boy or a girl.
Also, it's a thing that, like, some people, there are character traits that people have. People. I'm saying people, not men or women. Right. You know, which of course there's more than two genders. But anyway, let's just pretend there's just two, even just for the sake of this conversation. Right. But let's pretend that that's all there is. And even just people, there are some people that are more competitive than others. Some people, I'm a cis woman. I'm actually extremely competitive. Don't play Mario Kart with me. Don't play Trivial Pursuit with me. Don't play. I'm gonna warn everybody. When I'm reading this paragraph of, like, when I have this attitude of kill, like if someone overtakes me or someone, I'm like, I have the same attitude.
Pretty normal.
Some people are more. And so what this is. So if people, don't know these terms or don't understand, these are character traits that are across all genders. So you can have, again, some people that are more competitive than other people. You can have some people that are more interested in cars than other people. Some people might not, like me, with me and my husband, for example. He's the man. He's not interested in it at all. Doesn't care.
Right.
I'm the one interested in it. In some other couples, it could be the other way around. It's not about being a man or a woman. And so what this is, the term is gender essentialism, which is, a thing that we unfortunately have to deal with still a lot, where people have this belief that women are supposed to be, that women are innately a certain way. We hear every time you've heard someone say that, well, the reason why there's not more girls karting is because girls aren't interested in that. The reason why there's not more girls in STEM is because girls aren't interested in those subjects. The reason why there's not more women leading corporations is because, they don't want to have to do that. They want to have kids or whatever. Like they can't commit, because they naturally want to have kids. So it's like, or whatever the case may be. They don't have the drive. They don't have the ambition that these men do who are in those positions, because, they want to like arrange flowers and do, which is fine. If that's what you, again, anything that I'm going to say right now that sounds like it's more of a feminine thing. Again, that's the whole point. The whole point is that we denigrate things that are considered more feminine. Like the expression, you throw like a girl, what you have to ask yourself why that's an insult, right? I mean, there are a lot of women that could throw better than a lot of men. And,
I just think it's such a shame to hear that.
It's just so disappointing.
For me, I feel like, and it's not like switching gears, but kind of in the same vein of like what I think a lot about Formula One with like PR. And I'm just thinking like, we have the F1 Academy that's struggling this year because they couldn't broadcast. They couldn't get rights to broadcast it.
Hopefully next year.
But again, if that's akin to, for example, with me, when we talk about like beauty products, some brands will come out with a new foundation and then they won't have like my shade.
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, but don't worry, that's coming next year. My excitement for that product immediately plummets because I'm like, if you couldn't launch with my shade, why the hell would I worry about a year from now?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with like the F1 Academy.
That's insane, by the way. Like
it's fucking nuts.
I mean, it's the message is received, obviously, with that. It's
absolutely.
like, you don't matter. For us
and so when we talk about the F1 Academy and the fact that they couldn't secure rights to broadcast it every weekend, so now we're supposed to settle for like tweet updates and YouTube review videos, whatever. But like in the same year that this is all happening, and now the W series is bankrupt completely, and then you have Danica fucking Patrick on TV in a kids broadcast saying, well, girls just aren't innately, race drive. You don't have the drive or the ambition or the kill instinct.
That killer instinct. Listen, play Mario Kart with me just one time. I'm just going to tell you. Like, and that's not real. That's a game. But if I had grown up karting or doing racing or whatever, I would have that same instinct and that same approach doing that. Like,
but it's just like, to me, it's just like, what is the message that you're sending to your young female audience who maybe are interested in becoming race car drivers? This is now becoming a huge reoccurring theme where it's like women are like these second class citizens in your own sport. And now you have somebody who had a racing career, who is a woman, telling people who are younger than her, who have their whole lives ahead of them, who can be whatever the fuck that they want to be. Don't get your hopes up because basically you don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
You're really telling that to a kid? This is the first ever time that they've done this. And now you have this lady telling kids like...
Yeah. And it's just like, I know where all that comes from. I understand internalized misogyny very well. I mean, most women understand it very well. Most of us were not like, most of it didn't like come out of the womb being like, second or third wave feminists. Like we didn't, we had to go through a process, right? Because we live that's something people don't understand a lot of the time. We live in a misogynist society. We live in a racist society. That is how come you can have people who are black and racist. That is how come you can have, a Clarence Thomas. That is how come you can have a woman like Danica Patrick, who literally, was a racing driver herself and still say that women aren't cut out for this, even though she's a woman who I'm sure she feels was cut out for this, you know, but she's, she's different than the other girls, right? Because internalized sexism, all those types of things tell you that you're different. You're set apart. You're not like those other girls. You're special.
Call that
you're different.
Pick me energy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that different, it's that, and a lot of women have gone like, again, I think it has to do with a lot of these same characteristics. Like I'm very competitive and aggressive in a lot of ways. I've not been a racing driver, obviously, but in just other areas of my life. And I used to have thoughts like this. I used to be like, oh, girls are so, like girls are catty and they just, they fight and I mostly have male friends and guys are just better. And like because that's called misogyny. You can be a woman and be a misogynist. People don't get this. You can be black and be racist against other black people. You can be, or against other, obviously, but it seems counterintuitive to a lot of people. I get it. But like this, that's how that works. Because we live in a society that denigrates women, that denigrates black people, that denigrates disabled people, whatever. You can have, internalized misogyny, internalized racism, internalized ableism, because we're all swimming in this soup. It's like the air we breathe. So it takes actually work and practice and a concerted effort to not believe those things.
Yeah.
And even when it's about yourself. So it's just so disappointing. I mean, I would fire her on the spot.
Yeah. I spent the whole weekend thinking, one of these kids could absolutely take her job. And now I'm even more affirmed in that. Like,
please.
Because what is she really adding to the team? And I'm sorry,
not much.
Not enough that you need to fly her around the world. You could just anybody.
She's okay on the adult stuff. I haven't heard her say anything objectionable but this. I mean, just awful.
Like if
awful.
Nico had said that, the reaction would be way different, right?
That's because
when it comes from a guy, you're going to be like, wait a minute,
wait,
girls can do anything.
Yeah.
But when Danica says it, it's like, oh, we'll just let that slide because, maybe she has a point. And it's like, no, there's no point being made. No. She's not saying anything that any other man hasn't said. The difference is that it's because it's coming from her. We want to try to normalize that and accept that she should not be able to
I've heard
that
there's a lot of, I mean, as you can well imagine, the response from a lot of men online and like stuff like that is that, well, she's speaking facts.
Yeah.
She's, that's...
Let me give you a pro tip. If you ever are having a gendered conversation where women are at the subject of that conversation and a bunch of men are agreeing with you, you're on the wrong side.
Exactly.
If we're having a race conversation
and there's a bunch of white people agreeing with you,
you're on the wrong side of the conversation. So just a pro tip whenever you're engaging online or in general.
Like how many black friends does Clarence Thomas have, do we think? Like maybe a few that believe similarly the way he does, but probably zero.
Yeah. No,
let's be real.
I'm gonna err on the side of zero. Yeah,
I'm gonna err on the side of zero.
He doesn't seem like he likes other black people, even if they were conservative like him. So
no, he doesn't like. Again, he doesn't like himself in a sense. That's what's meant by internalized. When you have internalized racism or internalized misogyny or internalized anti-Semitism, I've seen internalized ableism, internalized whatever the case may be. You're part of that hate is for yourself. Yeah, and it's very toxic and very sad, and unfortunately, it doesn't just stay within yourself and with a lot of these people. Just really awful. And I really hope that either they have a strong talking to her or something, or, I mean, I would just get rid of her, to be honest. But that's just me. Okay. And now I think we must discuss the Lando Norris situation.
Oh God, Lando.
Okay. So, this is another thing where it's much deeper than a lot of people realize. This is there's so many things. This is like with everything. And I hate like online, especially, like, it's like people are always just like, oh, you're just saying that because you're a Lewis fan, or you're just saying that because you're, a Mercedes fan, or you're saying this because whatever, you hate Lando, like as if I have like some deep-seated hate for Lando or something, or for no, it's a lot of these things, like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about already, is a lot deeper than you might say I said all this stuff because I hate Danica Patrick. No, that's not not why I said it. That's not why I feel that's not why we feel the way we feel. So with Lando, so if people didn't see it, I mean, I do encourage everyone to, if you have F1 TV, you can just watch it that way. It's probably out there somewhere. There's lots of clips, but honestly, if you can watch the whole press conference that was after the race, which of course the top three are in that press conference. So Max, Lando, and Checo. I really, if you can find the whole thing, or if you have F1 TV, please watch the whole thing, honestly, because I didn't see anything that anyone said online before. I just watched it as I generally do over the course of a weekend. I always watch all the press conferences. They're interesting. You can learn stuff from them, especially with the team principals. And they have them for a lot longer too. I mean, some of it's boring and like, the answers you'd expect and nothing exciting, but sometimes there's things you learn. Yeah. Or again, just by reading kind of the tea leaves of how they're putting things and what they're saying. And so if you, I sat there watching this press conference and I was just like, I was embarrassed for everyone involved, honestly. I was embarrassed for Max and Lando, where this felt like this was like a locker room conversation, Like, I was embarrassed for Checo having to be like the adult in the room, but yet not saying anything. He just like laughed along with, whatever. Like, what's he supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, Max is his teammate, and Checo himself is not, I think he's very self-aware when things are, against him, but maybe not so much against other people. Like, because he's commented on more than one occasion about like that because I'm a Mexican driver, there's things that could well be the case. And I'm going to err on the side of trusting him on that. He's Mexican and he would know better. But I don't know if he has that same sensitivity with Lewis or with the Asian drivers or whatever the case may be. And so I felt embarrassed I actually felt bad even for like Tom Clarkson, the guy who runs all the press conferences, because you could tell that he was a little bit exasperated with just the level of like because Max and Lando, like if people don't know, when you watch these press conferences, sometimes the drivers will talk to each other. First of all, a lot of the time they're doing it off mic. They'll just talk to each other like while somebody else is giving an answer or something like that. They're just having like a chat. You see that a lot. Sometimes they will talk. They'll make like a funny comment, like when in this week's pre-race press conference, Pierre was there with like they'll have like the 5 drivers or whatever, and I remember there being the one Danny was in had Pierre also. Danny made some comment about how he's excited to drive or no, he didn't talk about driving in Vegas. He said he had some extra time with the 6 months he was off, and he had time to actually see friends and family more and do things that he didn't have time to do. He's like, I went to this bachelor party and it was in Vegas, and Pierre was like, I want to see pictures, and so there's things like that happen. It's cute, it's a momentary, but but mostly they need to stay also on task, because like there's some amount of time that's allotted for these press conferences actually. And so that's why like the guy who runs them, Tom Clarkson, like he's the guy that hosts Beyond the Grid, and he's he's been there for forever. Sometimes you can tell he's like, okay, like this, we have to, let's keep it moving. Like I even felt bad for him because it was this childish, like Twitch chat room atmosphere of like, it just, the whole thing felt foul. The whole thing felt foul.
Yeah, I've just seen the like one clip, the one like, main clip, but I didn't know that the whole
there's more
press conference. Yeah,
there's more. So
what actually happened? Like, what was the actual?
It's just that because Max and Lando are very close, as a lot of people know, and so now this is the second time Lando's in P2, and he's and I just feel like there was just a lot of, it was just like they felt very loose and comfortable with each other. Like, again, Checo's just sort of there. Like, he wasn't necessarily part of, he's just like, okay. I could tell that he was probably a little bit like, like that. But it just felt like that, like Lewis isn't there and we're going to say whatever we want. It just kind of felt, it had that feel of like, he's not here and we're just going to let it all hang out. Like, and then some things that Max even said that weren't about Lewis, but like he talked about, he was like, Max to Lando at one point was like, I felt sorry for you in those first couple, like early in the season. He's like, I felt so sorry for you, that because how bad their car was early in the season. And I'm like, oh, okay. Did you feel bad for all the other people too that had bad cars or still do? Like, it's just very, like, I get that they're friends, and Max has a lot of respect for Lando and Lando is, as everyone knows, immensely talented. Like, but that's part of the problem in Formula One. It's like the more, unless you're Lewis, this doesn't apply to him, but for everyone else, your level of talent is directly related to how much shit you can say and do, which is not great. Right. But I know that's the way things work in life in general. Of course, it doesn't work that way for Lewis, again, because he's had more success than anyone else, and he doesn't get to say whatever he wants and do whatever he wants. It just felt so immature, so childish. This, like, they were like, it's like they were like on this high of like, we're too, and you have to remember, that Max is also very young. Max is also still very young. Like and Lando has been maturing more lately, But it was like, that was like all gone. It just felt like it was like, it felt like that's just maybe a front that he puts, or I don't know, like, because we've heard about how him and Lewis have like have gotten closer. Like Lando specifically talked about this a lot in this one piece that was out somewhere. I remember how, you know, he's because they never, you know, obviously they're also from different generations and different, you know, but Lewis has a soft spot for McLaren because that's where he started out, and he's always complimented Lando and his driving, and just the, you know, Lando, you know, the famous, oh, what a great, you know, driver, because he is very good, and but it's just Lando, it's just like it was like they were making fun of, like they were having a laugh at Lewis's expense on more than one occasion during that press conference. I mean,
Lando always strikes me as somebody who's very like fake. I hate using that term, but it's very like it's very apparent that like whenever he's around Lewis, like maybe he has admiration for him. Yeah. But like whenever he's around his friends, his peers, exactly, he definitely loves to like say sly, slick comments about Lewis unprovoked. Like the clip that I saw, and from what I know of the press conference, I didn't watch the whole thing, like no one directly asked him about Lewis. No. So it's the fact that like he's getting brought up unprovoked.
It just comes up, exactly.
It's like word vomit. And so for a lot of people who, you know, again, like you said, Lando is talented. He's immensely talented. But like, I just don't like him. I'm sorry. Like, I just personally prefer to follow athletes and people who are like, have some level of integrity, and some level of respect for other people. Yeah. You don't have to love Lewis. Like, I'm not asking anybody to like kiss his feet or kiss his rings, but like, if he's not directly being asked in a question, I don't understand the need to constantly bring him up. Exactly. And especially in a way, in the clip that I saw, Lando implied that Lewis was complaining about the McLaren getting faster, when in actuality, Lewis has been nothing but complimentary of them and their car.
Exactly.
He's been saying the McLaren.
He keeps saying, "Oh, it's so nice to see them back up here." He's like, "This is great. I love it."
Nothing but love for them. Yeah. So it's very strange that somehow in your mind you twisted it into like he's complaining because your car's faster.
And this is a constant pattern with him. Like that's the issue. Is not that it's not just this one time. Like honestly, this has been like over and over and over. Like
happens all of the time.
He's talked in the piece. Like if Lewis came here today to this team, like he wouldn't be winning. You know, if Lewis, like he has such a chip on his shoulder about Lewis. Yeah. Like why? You are possibly just as talented potentially. We'll see.
His thing with Lewis feels like because Lewis hasn't had to struggle that, you know, he's won all of these things, that why is he complaining now? And it's like Lando doesn't understand that Lewis has over 100 wins to his name. Yeah. He doesn't just want to come in third or second. He wants to win the races. Like, I understand that Lando has not had the opportunity yet to stand on the top podium, the top step of the podium. But, like, he has to understand Lewis is in a whole different mindset than him. It's not enough to just be getting podiums every week. He wants to win. Therefore,
but
when
so
he's
does
speaking
Lando.
inwardly,
like, that's the thing. Lando has the same mindset.
Does he? Because it feels like anytime he seems pretty fucking ecstatic to be second place, because whenever
what I mean by that is part of it is like one of the things that I remember I thought about when I was watching this whole debacle. Honestly, it was just I've been watching these press conferences now for the last 3 years or whatever, however long. Mm-hmm. It stood out. It stood out, this one. Yeah. It just stood out because it was so unprofessional also from them. It was so unprofessional. Like, it felt like, again, you're like Lando and Max, again, they're very young. They raced together growing up, whatever. But so did like Charles. Charles also raced, you know, so did a lot of these other drivers who are also on the younger side. And I haven't seen them behave that way. I have not seen that from them. In fact, people like Charles, Pierre, Esteban, a lot of drivers, you know, they're not necessarily kissing Lewis's feet or whatever, but I feel like from them, I feel like a respect and you know, even if they don't overtly say anything, maybe that's one of the reasons is they don't necessarily, they don't bring him up unprovoked, like, you know, like
not in a negative light. It's just very strange. Like, Lando's very strange to me. Like you said, there's like a chip on his shoulder. Maybe the whole Sochi thing is still like plays in his mind of like he could have had that win.
I mean,
Lewis
I
got
guess
it over him. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't care, to be quite honest. I just think Lando, to be honest, needs to just be quiet. Like there's just certain times where I feel like you just need to enjoy your win, your second place podium or whatever. And like, you're up there. Why are you talking about somebody who has nothing to do with this?
Yeah.
Like that just seems obsessed to me. And then all of his fans who like to say,
I mean, he was like, Lewis has been complaining all season that he's has such a bad car, but it's not really a bad car. Like he's been claiming, he's like tried driving around in 19th and 20th. You know what I mean? I'm like, Lando. Like this, relax, first of all, I mean, that has like last year he was out in Q1 in Saudi Arabia.
The car wasn't great. Yeah.
The car is not actually. And also the way he's speaking about it is as if he like, no, you don't know. You're not driving that car. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, you don't know. Like, I understand your car was really bad in the beginning of the season. Like, yes, I get it. Like, you guys everyone know. It's like he believes that if he's driving at the back that people will suddenly think he has no talent. Nobody thinks that, Lando. Nobody thinks that. Like, do we not understand that in Formula One, a lot depends on the car? I think everybody understands that. Literally everybody understands that. Everyone's gotten that memo. Everyone's gotten that memo, but yet he still has this like that one of the reasons Lewis is so great is because he's had a great car. And again, the thing that everyone always believes.
But you don't realize that Lewis got recruited basically as wasn't even a teenager, I don't think. When he basically was told, like, call me when you're of age and like we'll put you on a team, you know, so it's like it's not his fault.
Lando
he's never
came
had to
into
drive
McLaren
19th and 20th in the car.
Lando came into McLaren very young also. And I remember I've seen I remember that part in Drive to Survive where it's like 19-year-old Lando or however old he was, or he was, you know, and he's like he came in believing that he deserved a world championship on day one, much like our good friend George Russell, who we've talked about many times also. But George, do you know what? Like this from Lando, it's worse. Like George has kind of like the same mindset in a sense. Like he also feels like he should be winning a world championship today, right now, yesterday, you know, like we've talked many times about how he's like, I'm faster than Lewis now. Are you, George? It's the facts don't support that. But anyway, and I'm not talking about this past weekend. I just mean in general, you know. There are facts, there are numbers, there, you know, look them up. You know, but George's is like more like, it's more just like an internal ambition. Like it doesn't, you know, it's like what he believes, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with anyone else. Like he's not trying to knock down Lewis or any other successful driver. Like he doesn't. The example would be probably Max. Like if George was the type of person Lando is, he would probably be saying things about Max all the time unprovoked, right? He'd be like, well, this guy, you know, he's just in the best car. Like, so, you know, that's why he keeps winning. And that's why, you know, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. I can't believe I'm here on this podcast right now saying that I respect George Russell more than Lando Norris, but there it is. Maybe it's not that hard to believe in the grand scheme of
George has
things,
had a few sneaky things about Max. Like he definitely has. But I mean, I get what you're saying. It's to me, I just feel like Lando just doesn't. There's just something really weird about Lando's perception of Lewis. Like it's like the more Lewis tries to be nice to him and befriend him, the more that I feel like Lando rejects that, because I feel like to him it feels like maybe, you know, it's not genuine or something.
Right.
And so therefore it's like, I don't want it, or like, I don't want your pity, you know, like the whole Lewis, not consoling, but kind of like consoling Lando after Sochi and telling him, you know, your time's going to come and all this stuff. I feel like he just rejected that and was like, it's like, it's his fault. Like it's Lewis's fault that like Lando decided not to pit for the correct tires or something. Yeah. He's like always looking for somebody else to blame. And I feel like for him, it's Lewis, or at least that's how it feels. Yeah. And it's way easier to take a shot at somebody like Lewis because, you know.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's the thing. That's really the thing. It's like, again, the entitlement of, you know, like we've talked about George's entitlement, right? You know, also sort of in a similar vein, kind of, but like Lando, like you get the sense that he, a lot of this comes from the frustration that he believed that he was gonna, you know, day one, he was going to start being a world beater, right? Like he was going to, or that, in the beginning, I mean, there is, you know, it's talked talked about a lot in the beginning. Actually, he talked about struggling with anxiety. Actually, he was like he's like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for Formula One. Like, this is hard. His first year, especially like his rookie year. And then, things got better for him, whatever. And then of course, eventually started having good results. And so it's like, why do you need to put your apparent lack of self-esteem still, I guess, even at this juncture?
He's the one last person from his class who hasn't even won a race. Like, I imagine it's probably grating on him quite a lot.
I'm
and
sure.
The more that Lewis stays around, the less chance that Lando has of winning. I mean, that's the other issue. I feel is that these kids don't want him to be there anymore.
No, they don't. They're like, come on, like, enough of you already. Leave. Like, you've already won a lot of stuff. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, this is not an uncommon thing. The generational differences in a lot of areas. You see this dynamic where younger people are like, come on, like, get it. Sometimes that can be valid. It depends on the, like I think a lot of our political leaders potentially
but Lewis isn't like 78 years old. He's 38.
Exactly.
And so to me, I'm just like, as long as he's there, why shouldn't he be competitive?
Again, the double standards. Look at the way people talk about Alonso. Yeah. Look at the way people talk about Fernando Alonso, who is older than Lewis, right? Yeah. Isn't it incredible what he's doing at this age? The level that he's performing at this age is unbelievable. That's all we heard about for the entirety of they're not talking about it as much now, but but that was a constant refrain. Oh my God, look at what this guy is doing at his age. But Lewis, it's like, because the expectation of greatness is just like his like standard level of that it's like that anything Lewis does is like, well, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're just doing, and yet again, as we've talked about, that same thing isn't applied to Max. There's also an expectation of greatness. There's also this, but when Max does it, it's still like, oh my God. Like, this is, but when Lewis, it's like, oh yeah, okay, another day at the office. A day that ends in Y. Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, some of these guys wish that would be their future, where it's like, it's just another Sunday. Yeah, just another win for me. Like, everybody dreams of having a career like Lewis Hamilton. I don't think it even makes any sense for any driver to act like there's something wrong with being, decorated. A veteran in your sport. Like, that's insane. Like, that level of hater is so insane to me, because it's true. Like, if you had that mentality, if you had that work ethic, you would be in his shoes.
Yeah. So, and then maybe you still can be. Maybe you still can be someday. You're still young.
I don't know. It starts when you're early.
That's true.
It starts when you're early.
Well, no, I'm not saying that from my perspective, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But what I mean is that internally they could be telling themselves that, and they should be, if they had the same drive and the same level. Again, when you're entitled, when you expect things to be handed to you, again, even when you're immensely talented, no one is questioning or doubting Lando's talent. His talent is immense. He's probably a future world champion if he gets the right car, but whatever. But this like belief, again, Max saying, when they asked Max about Lando, he's like, oh yeah, of course, Lando is, going to be a world champion someday if he gets the right car. He's extremely good. He's, and people say things like that all the time. And it's like, no one is doubting your talent, but are you doubting it? Like, I don't, but I don't think he is. That's the thing, actually. I think that he believes that he's entitled because of the level of his talent. He's like, the fact that I had this shit car for the first half of the season is insane, guys. He's like, do you know who I am?
Right. And it's like, just because you want to play the struggle Olympics with other drivers doesn't mean that everybody else has to participate. Like, I'm sorry that you had to drive a shitty car, but I mean, like, that's fucking your team's fault. I'm sorry. So take that up with Zach. Take that up with your engineers, but don't
maybe
put
you
that
shouldn't
on
have
Lewis.
Signed a death row contract with that team. Like, I don't
put that
know.
On Lewis.
Maybe
I'm
that
sorry.
was
like.
I mean, it's looking better now, but
it just irritates me. I'm sorry. Like, own your own shit. Like, Lewis doesn't punch out at people when his car is not performing. He doesn't punch out at other teams and say, oh, they got they're lucky that he doesn't do that. He compliments them. He gives people their props. And then when he talks about his car, his struggle or whatever was going on, like that's all he's doing is debriefing. But to call that complaining, to me, it's the same thing with like Danny Ricciardo. It's that level of like, you're not taking it seriously and that's why your car is shit. You think that a second place podium every week is satisfying enough, but you're not looking at how you can improve and be better. And Lewis is, and you call that complaining. And this is why you have 0 race wins to your name and you're crying. And he's not, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going to get another race win. He's going to get another championship and you're going to still be bitter because you can't see the forest for the trees. So you can call it complaining all you want, but it will lead somewhere eventually.
This is echoing the toxic discourse that we hear about Lewis from, Joe Nobody online literally every 5 minutes. Yeah. Lewis is a complainer. Lewis is a crybaby. Yeah. Lewis is to have essentially your colleagues, your coworkers, people who are, doing a similar job to you at the highest level of motorsport, allegedly, whatever, for them to be talking about you the way that some common, like, know-nothing loser in a bar talks about you is just, it boggles the mind.
Well, and that's why they all have so many fans. Like, I was actually stunned to see that Lando had so many fans.
That's why our hate ratings were from Lando fans, by the way. I mean,
but, like, you have to think these people see these drivers as avatars for their thoughts. Like, Lando's just being real. He's saying what I'm thinking. Like, you guys see yourselves in Lando, therefore you attach that. Even though this man has no discernible record in Formula One, for him to have nearly as many fucking soldiers as he does, but it's because you enjoy the fact that he takes these small digs at somebody who's more decorated than him. You guys have an inferiority complex. Your driver has an inferiority complex. Therefore, it's all in your one big little happy
maybe
family.
You haven't achieved
maybe there's a Lewis Hamilton in your life that you feel like shouldn't be where they are.
You believe. I mean, that has to be it. Like, it's or whatever. I mean, we all have, like, everyone has, like, most of us probably believe that we could have achieved more or something in some, but those of us who are, grown-ups and who have like gone to therapy and stuff like that, understand that that's not the fault of the person who is successful or the whatever, like, that's not, we can't put that at their feet, and we shouldn't talk about them in such a way that suggests that they didn't deserve.
Also, just pushing back a little bit also on the fan thing where they're like, oh, he's joking. He's saying it while he's laughing. His jokes aren't funny. So where does that leave us? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're joking about the same person all of the time,
I'm
going to have to tell you that it's not a fucking joke. And also, they were together on Saturday. Why didn't he tell that joke on Saturday?
Yeah.
When Lewis was sitting directly next to him.
It was so clear to me. Again, when you watch the whole thing, when you see it in the context of the whole thing, the whole press conference, it was very much like, Lewis isn't here. We're going to let it rip. There's plenty of times Lewis isn't there. But because specifically, I think that because it was Max and Lando. Now, it was Max and Lando and who was in P3 in Silverstone? Oh, Lewis. That's right.
Lewis, yeah.
No, but that's right. Because this is now only the second time that it's been Max, P1, Lewis. So Lewis was there before. So when Lewis is there, I mean, I've seen sometimes they make funny jokes. Like Lando makes actual jokes that are funny. Then, like when Lewis was there, he made a joke about how it was so inspirational the way Lewis and Fernando used to work together, and the way that and everyone laughed. Lewis laughed. Everyone laughed because he was in on that joke. He was part of that joke. Of course, everyone knows why that's funny, because Lewis and Fernando, obviously didn't get in there. Was a rivalry and whatever. And it was funny. And now also, that was so many years ago, we can all laugh about it now, it's all, and because Lewis is there, it's so different telling a joke about a person when they're there. Then when we all know this. You all know that if your friend tells a joke to your other friend about you when you're not there, that's kind of hurtful, you're going to feel a certain way, right? Like,
everybody would feel that way.
This is not normal behavior.
Standing up for defending behavior that's not defensible.
And again, like, I think I meant to say this earlier, and I didn't. It's like, this is you're not in karting anymore, dicking around with your 15-year-old friends. You're on a global stage. Your words and your actions have consequence and meaning to a lot of people. You are setting an example, whether you want to be or not. And what's really insane to me is that Lando has repeatedly talked about the fact that he actually he hates that he's misconstrued, that people take something he said and he talks about that as if that he claims that concerns him, that it bothers him, that he feels bad. He says he feels bad when people misunderstand. But again, if you're being constantly misunderstood a certain way, or if people are constantly, then maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Then maybe you're actually not realizing that maybe you feel or believe certain things, and you're saying, you're making jokes about them, and you think it's just a joke, but it's not just a joke.
Yeah. The jokes aren't landing. It's not funny.
I don't think there's much introspection
especially
there.
when the guy you're joking about is very openly respectful and encouraging towards you. It just looks bratty. It looks unprofessional. It just looks bad. So everybody trying to be it's a joke. Everybody trying to be just chill. He's young. He's grown. He's an adult. Words have consequences. The same way that he's allowed to say stuff, we're allowed to react to it.
Are not doing this shit.
Yeah.
His peers are, George. Yeah. Okay, George has said some things, but in the sense of that he's not, he's much more professional.
Yeah.
People think that's a good thing. Again, Lando's real. Well, you know what? You can be real and still not be a dick.
I mean, but if you're going to be real to the person that you're saying it about. That's my thing. That you're not being real if you're talking behind somebody's back.
Tell Lewis to his face. You know what?
Say it to his face.
Say it to his face.
And then
say
we can talk about being real. Yeah.
Lewis, you've been complaining about your car.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We weren't driving my car. Ha ha. Maybe that would be fun. I don't know. Maybe Lewis, maybe they would have a good laugh at it together. Yeah. But he's not saying it to Lewis. He's saying it behind his back. He's saying it to these other people. He's
throwing
saying it
stones and hiding his hands, and that's how I feel. So
exactly.
Be real all the way.
And I mean, it's such childish behavior. Yeah. It's so sad. I'm right now in the position where I'm please do not influence Oscar to be like you, because he seems like a very solid young man with a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Despite every single human being that exists to commentate on Formula One saying that Oscar deserved that podium in Silverstone, that P3, despite every single person in the world saying that Oscar has not taken the bait on that, because he's of a different class of human being than Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Lando would have said that himself. No one would have even had to tell him that you deserve that position. He would have been I should have had that. Oscar is much more mature emotionally than Lando, and I just hope that it stays that way, because I don't want to see another nice young man get ruined.
Lando Norris, yeah.
But please, because Lando technically doesn't have to.
Enough. Thank you.
It didn't have to go this way. The entitlement, that to say that Lewis, again, he's looking at Lewis's life as if it's all been gravy, because all he sees is success and the whatever. He doesn't know because to him that's a non-issue probably. He doesn't, all the racism, all the vitriol, even during his Formula One career. Just the other day, Lewis was like, Seb Vettel used to tell me things, people would say racist things about me, on the teams that he raced for. This is still happening. This is not, Seb Vettel was in Formula One not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's disgusting. It's just disgusting. And we have to stop because we have to do tweet of the week and then get on out of here.
Go to sleep.
But yes, go to sleep. Exactly. And dream of a world without these little
I don't know. Think of Lando Norris outside of this podcast. That's it.
I mean, seriously, I wish I want to never have this conversation again. I regret that it.
I'm sure we'll have it again.
Won't be the case. Yeah. Sadly, very, very sadly.
Yeah.
But our tweet of the week this week is from first time winner Phil Spain. He is Phil on Espanol on Twitter, which is cute. He is actually, I think he does. I don't know. He might do a podcast himself. I know he's really into NASCAR also. I think he's into, nice. So I don't know how closely he follows F1, but of course he follows us because he's super cool. And he quote tweeted. In fact, I will say, I will, if you quote tweet and if you do a really good one, I might give that extra bonus points because it's kind of more valuable than a reply in a sense. But if you're replying, it's really awesome. I'll still give it to you. But this was a quote tweet of me posting, "Why have you done this, Nico Hulkenberg?" about his hair. You know, he's Natasha, I know you tried to talk me down, you know, and that he's just trying something. It's okay. But I mean, I'm like, whatever. Obviously you could do whatever you want to your hair.
Right.
I just personally, I don't think it looks good with the skin tone is all I'm saying. I just think it, you know, he's very, you know, German and Aryan, and he's already very washed out. So I just don't think that hair color is for him. Right. Again, I'm trying to look out for you, Nico. Like you know, if you could say, I want you to look your best, I thought your original hair is actually better. Or if you wanted to try something new, I would go with maybe a darker shade, you know, that might look interesting. Anyhow, so I posted like the picture of him and why have you done this, Nico Hulkenberg? And Phil quote tweeted it and said, this Barbie movie promo has gone too far, which is hilarious. And he used the Barbie movie hashtag, you know, with the little B.
The B.
Phil, obviously not in any danger of feeling like his penis is going to fall off if he mentions Barbie. You know, it's just going to just fall right off. Just, you know. Right. It's because that's what'll happen to you fellas if you go see Barbie at the ticket counter. They'll ask, you know, they'll do a little snip, you know. That's how that must work in their minds, I think.
Right.
So Phil is our big winner. Thank you, Phil. That was really funny. He gave me a good chuckle. This Barbie movie promo is going too far, which is ironic and funny because actually during the press conference, Nico, like people made some joke about that, and Nico was like, "Well, no, I didn't play with Barbie and Ken growing up." Like he also put down his little man marker.
Oh God!
I can't take it with these people.
My brain is gonna explode. Oh,
he didn't say anything about the Barbie movie, but he was like, "Yeah, no, that's not why I did it." Obviously, like it just felt very, you know, that's.
Everybody's just dyeing their hair blonde for the fucking hell of it, I guess. No relation to the biggest movie about blondes. But whatever.
So thank you, Phil, for giving us a bright spot in an otherwise kind of difficult week. Despite the Lewis pull, there was all this other shit.
Yeah.
That really was a bummer. So
everybody can't be Lewis, bringing joy and light into our lives. You always need that balance. The dark with the light. I
guess. Yeah. I'm going to try to look at it that way. I love your approach to life in general. I have to say, like,
it's required a lot of meditation.
I'm, you know, that's
a lot of herbal tea.
Whatever it takes.
3 bags in here. 3 bags in here.
Oh, wow. You weren't kidding.
A lot of herbal tea. Okay.
That's amazing. Okay, wow, I have to start drinking herbal tea immediately because I think my life could improve drastically, possibly.
You could be me right now. Yeah.
Okay. I you know what? You do seem very zen and very centered, and you know, I'm gonna have to think about
until
this
you start talking about Danica talking shit about kids, and I'm like, ready to fight.
Yeah. That's so okay. Okay, anyway. let's try to mentally prepare ourselves for what's probably going to be another difficult week in Spa. Let's be honest. Probably not going to be a good situation.
Not a good track for our car.
Yeah,
Sprint weekend.
Sprint weekend, which means the setup will be ass.
We get one shot at setup.
Setup will be ass. Like we have, it's been known that like if you're a Mercedes and you only have one practice, you could just like go home. Like don't like. So.
I might sleep through it. I'm not gonna lie, but I might watch it just to see what happens.
Yeah, It's So anyway, thank you everyone for listening. If you've gotten this far. And hope you enjoyed the Barbie movie if you went to see it, or Oppenheimer. Now remember, it doesn't matter which one you saw, or if you saw both. It's funny, I heard actually people say that people were like, don't go see Barbie after Oppenheimer. It's a bad idea. For some reason,
I switched up my thought on that. I was going to do a double feature, but I was like, no.
It sounds like a good idea in your mind when you're thinking about it. Like,
you need to cleanse the palate.
And then this will be, and then apparently some people, I'm sure it could still work for some people.
It's weird because, Nolan films make you like really kind of break your brain a little bit. And I always feel like I need like time to process it. So that's why I was like, I have to sleep on separate days. I'll just come home and watch like Cars or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
Cars 2.
That's the right call. Yeah, totally.
Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New Groove, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
give it a few hours. Yeah.
If you have any thoughts on the Barbie movie or Oppenheimer or anything we talked about or anything else, you can email us. We are you can email us at racingincidentpod. That's pod@gmail.com, racingincidentpod@gmail.com. And of course, like I said, follow us on social media, do all the things, please, because we're going through this pain and emotional experience here, partially for you guys. And we hope you appreciate it. So we will talk to you again next week. And until then, bye.